何なんだよこの力って。手にした力の使い道もわからない少年をまずは
Man! We're finally getting to Ultraman, buddy. We're finally here. Many, many moons later, as the young kids say. So I am going to charge up my specium powers, my ultra powers. I'm going to form it into a invisible giant ball, and I'm going to toss it for. I'm going to toss it to you as we begin our hives.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First big high is that the atmosphere is good.
Yeah.
The atmosphere that they were going for of like a 60s to early 70s costume superhero kind of show of that era kind of ilk, where like every character in the, even though it's computer generated, they didn't do weird Star Wars things with like tentacles everywhere. It was like every character looked like a guy who could be in a suit.
Yeah.
Like everything looked like a guy with a mask or a dude in a big rubber suit.
Yeah.
And they did that, like they captured that feeling really well. All the fighting is very wire-fu.
Yeah.
There's lots of kind of silly trajectories.
Yeah.
And a lot of really over-the-top wrestling move kind of things.
Yeah.
That all kind of reeks of that era of power fighter kind of stuff. It's very Ultraman is the point. And so yeah, that atmosphere they nailed really well, and that's gonna be my first high.
My first high would be I really like that they kept all the names of all the attacks and all the finishers of Ultraman. Like the Specium Ray. I like that. I thought it was great. And I'm so relieved that they didn't just say, hey, let's just throw that away, come up with something totally different, because that would have been sad.
Yeah, they're definitely going for the nostalgia on this one,
That would be my first high.
Okay. Let's see, my second high is, it's tricky. Some of the characters, and I'm going to qualify some, because this is also my low.
Yeah.
Some of the characters are really interesting and well done. Like, I really liked Mr. Ado, the alien that you meet very early on, who works with the SSSP. They do it differently in the English version. In the English version, he talks very slow and low and stentorian. Whereas in the Japanese version, in the subtitled version that I watched, they do a much more interesting thing where he talks normally but then slows down and speeds up again, like he doesn't really know how English works.
Yeah.
That was great.
And that actually, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that actually makes sense. We were talking about this off screen before we were recording. You mentioned that, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense now. Like, now that I have a reference, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like, again, it's something that they did that was interesting with the character without being like a big thing. It's just a little character note. Plus he's a cool looking alien design again.
Yeah.
And also, spoilers, I suppose. I should mention. At the end, the final bad guy they fight, Ace Killa.
Yeah.
I really like the way they handled him as like kind of a full of himself jerk. And they're like, because people on Earth don't deal with space, they're like, we have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cute moment too.
Yeah. My second high was all the cheesiness we got. I enjoyed Godzilla in the 80s and Mothra and just like the absurd ridiculousness of those movies. And I enjoyed Ultraman for those reasons. And I'm like, when they were coming out with Ultraman, I'm like, oh my god, if they do this so serious, well, we'll get to that in my negatives. Well, but if they're like, they can't pull off this if they go 100% serious. They could, but fans would be very annoyed.
Yes.
And I was relieved. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. Like the Science Patrol.
Yeah, again, it's a very nostalgic thing,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, they really knew what they were going for.
Yeah, I was relieved because that's ridiculous. Science Patrol. It's
it's good. It's fine.
It's fine. It's ridiculous, but it's ridiculous in a good way.
Yes.
In a good way.
Yeah.
That would be my second high.
I do want to mention, we have different definitions of cheese.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do.
But I agree in the sense that, like, it's the appropriate amount of over-the-top played straight.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily cheese to me.
Yeah.
But I certainly agree that aspect of it was well done.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's weird, crazy robot suit men fighting aliens.
Yeah.
Play it straight. You do not have to explain it all Gundam style.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I definitely agree with that high as well. Do I have any other highs? Oh! The running gag where anytime anyone suffers battle damage, it is their left arm falling off. Once you notice it, it is impossible not to notice anymore. Yeah. Just left arms are not safe in this universe. I really hope you are right-handed if you are fighting aliens in this show.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, I just want to say, I don't know if it's confession time. I haven't seen much of the old Ultraman. Okay. I've seen a bit of it, a few episodes here and there. It's not something I really got into.
Okay.
So I don't know if there was, like, a thing in the old 60s series.
Yeah, it's been a while for me since I watched it, and I don't think you can, like, get it on Apple TV, which is
your platform of choice.
Yeah, and Netflix, it doesn't... They really should have, like... This would be... We'll get to it in my negative.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know if it was a callback or if it was something that they decided to do with the show itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens a lot, and I'm like, I've noticed it now, and it's kind of amusing every time.
That would be it for my highs as well. So let's just go straight...
Let's get straight on, yeah.
Straight on to our negatives. And I will start if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
A protagonist or hero only works in a scenario where you feel sympathetic. You want him to rah rah rah, go go go. And in this, I didn't care about the kid whatsoever. I did not care whatsoever. I think his name is Hero, if I recall. I don't know if Salt can pull that up for us as we're talking. Please and thank you.
This usually just references Shinjiro.
Yeah. But I didn't care. I didn't care. He was so annoying. He was so annoying, and partly that has to do with the script and the voiceover, but how he was written was just so annoying that I did not care whatsoever. So that would be my first low.
Okay. My first low also ties into that in a certain level. I actually am okay with the idea of, like, an awkward protagonist who's, like, kind of terrible.
Yeah.
Because the idea of this series is this 13-episode arc is supposed to be him turning from a whiny brat to he who is Ultraman kind of thing. So I was originally okay with the idea that he's like a flimsy little no backbone weakling kind of deal. My problem is that they don't really properly fix him.
That's right.
By the end of it, he is indeed a mighty selfless Ultraman.
Yeah.
But the writing between the beginning and the end does not show that journey properly.
Yeah.
I specifically want to point out that there's kind of two characters that drive his transformation. There's like a pop idol character who's like, I hate Ultraman because he accidentally killed my mother. And that's supposed to teach him that, you know, not everyone's going to love you. But it's done in such a way that you can't really respect her opinion. Yeah. Like, there's a big dramatic scene where the villain of the scene is like, all right, you can save the audience or you can save her. One or the other. And her response should have been, oh, I see now. Yeah. Save the audience, I guess. Yeah. Her response was, hey, Ultraman, if you're a hero, you have to save all of us. And that's terrible. That's the worst way to handle that. And then, you know what? I'm going to save the other character we're going to talk about for my second low, because he's much worse.
My second low. My second low is. We talk about this all the time, especially with anime movies or anime TV shows. A common trope would be in most of these animes, it's like, I'm a good guy, but I'm a bad guy. But I'm secretly a good guy to be a bad guy, but now I'm a good guy and I see my ways. And now my fate has been twisted, now I'm a bad guy again.
I killed you to teach you, kind of thing, yeah.
And it feels like that they were trying so hard to avoid that trope, but in doing so, they fell right into that trope.
Yeah. I don't know if they were even trying to avoid it. I think it's almost more a matter of they weren't totally sure where they wanted the plot to go, so they wrote a bunch of branches, and then kind of just tied them off as they got to the end.
Yeah.
Like Bemler.
Yeah.
I believe that's the name.
Yeah.
The villain. Villain, in quotes. Shows up at the beginning, the evil gray Ultraman.
Yeah.
Beats the crap out of Shinjiro's dad.
Yeah.
Almost kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And the reveal at the end is, he could have killed me, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And it turns out he did all of this to make whiny Shinjiro into the new Ultraman.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't show up very much throughout the series. And it really feels like, as you mentioned, they were like, they didn't want him, they wanted him to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then they decided like halfway through, wait, no, let's make him a good guy.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of like threw him in.
Well, there's like a couple of characters in I'm going to leave that to you to get your 80 cents in. But yeah, there's like at least two. If I'm mistaking a third character, I apologize. But at least two, they're like, I'm a good guy, that's a bad guy, that's a good guy, that's a bad guy, but really good. And now I'm really bad.
Yeah.
But now I see the error in my ways. It's like, if you want the audience to follow along, streamline this. Because if you don't streamline this, then at the end, when you want people to care, they're not going to care.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can do that if you do it well.
Yeah.
The problem is what they did was have a bunch of loose ends.
Yeah.
And then just kind of had like a quick answer at the end for each loose end. Rather than having an actual plot or story. They're just like, oh yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He just shows up in the last episode and he's like, I was a good guy all along.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to save the shitty kid that no one likes.
Yeah. So, like I said, that would be my second low.
So yes, my second low is the shitty kid that no one likes.
Yeah. Nobody likes him.
So yes, to skim through this, because I really do hate this character.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The third Ultraman.
Yeah.
Because there is the first Ultraman, who is Sword Guy.
Yeah.
Who is, like, acceptable. He's there to teach Shinjiro that you gotta be ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Ultraman Shinjiro, who's the second one.
Yeah.
And then there's the third one, who is a tiny... everyone knows this trope in anime.
Yeah.
It is the young child who is incredibly strong and incredibly smart and very ruthless.
Yeah.
And, like... is better than you.
Yeah.
And, no one likes that character.
No.
And I don't know why they keep doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the third character who basically had his dad build him a sweet suit. And uses it to beat up gangsters and then steal their money. And that's like his thing.
Yeah.
And he's out for revenge. Right? And at the end, ruthless kid who we hate because he treats everyone like crap. He's like, all right, I'm going to go get revenge. And the other Ultramen are like, we'll save him because he can't fight a bunch of mercenaries who are like space mercenaries. And they're very good at their job. Their boss is named Ace Killer.
Ooh.
And so they go to rescue him, and he's tapping into their communications, and he's like, oh good, they'll die to reduce the number of mercenaries I have to fight for my revenge. In other words, he's still a terrible bad guy. And so at the end of all this, the appropriate resolution is for him to realize that he was being a jackass, and that his version of justice is bad, and he has to make a heroic sacrifice. This is not me saying, like, this is my preference. This is how a standard narrative should go. Is that the good guy who acts like shit becomes good at the end. It's redemption. That's how it works.
Right.
He does not.
No.
In fact, the only good thing about this ending is that he dies as a failure. Like, he fails to kill the person he wanted to get revenge on, and then he dies. And that should not be the satisfying conclusion to the Ultraman arc.
No.
Like, I think we were supposed to hate this kid and like be happy that he died without achieving his goals. I don't know. But yeah, that's my low. Just terrible third character that no one likes. I don't know why they put him in there. He didn't even get the proper arc. It's just...
So, my third low is gonna sort of piggyback on what you were saying. They... In Ultraman,
mm-hmm.
they start certain things. Okay? Certain plots.
Mm-hmm.
Subplots, narratives that they wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like they didn't know how to tie it off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tie whatever subplot they were telling.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just didn't reference that or just make a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
That's my third low. And that's fine
yeah.
if you want to have a bunch of subplots and sub-arcs for your characters. That's fine. We see it all the time in Game of Thrones and in Naruto and things like that.
Yeah, subplots are fine. Yeah.
But the difference is they have a satisfying conclusion that makes sense.
Yeah.
When they go somewhere,
mm-hmm.
they have a plan, A to B. Okay, this is how we're going to start it. This is how we're going to end it. They don't go A, B, C, D.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically what it goes is A, and then they don't get to B.
Yeah.
They just put a period at the end.
Yeah.
It's more... I get what you mean.
Yeah.
There's no subplot resolution.
It's just like... Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that would be my third low.
I guess my final low... I don't know if you have more lows?
I have one more after this.
Okay, just go ahead with that, because I have the one, like, capstone low that I need to give.
So my final low is... Netflix was touting this as a Ultraman series.
Mm-hmm.
And they were hyping this, and all the kaiju fans were excited about it. So if that was the case,
mm-hmm.
why not like get some Ultraman 60 episodes, put it on Netflix, and then like to get everybody hyped
mm-hmm.
for it, and then 2 weeks after that, when the series is ready to drop that series.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're like, oh, here's Ultraman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh great.
Yeah.
People that are old enough to remember this character are going to remember this character.
Mm-hmm.
And people that you want to watch this episode that are new subscribers
mm-hmm.
not going to know what the hell Ultraman is
yeah.
and understand these references. So that would be my... There's a lot more, but that's just my final low.
To be fair, I think that's more of an administrative thing. I don't want to pin that too much on the Ultraman show as a low.
No, I'm pinning it on Netflix itself.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I just want to say, like, I mean, it doesn't really qualify as a low for the show itself, but for sure it is probably a misstep on Netflix's part. My capstone low is there's a lot of budget crapness, for lack of a better term. Like, probably the biggest low is that it's a kinetic, action-y show
mm-hmm.
with really nice CG.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the money just disappears.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be a fight scene where frames seem to just drop, like it's very choppy.
Yeah.
But not in the Dragon Ball Z choppy way.
Mm-hmm.
More in, like, the way that, again, frames have been lost.
Yeah.
Or a scene will go and it will get that blurring effect that you
mm-hmm.
get with slow motion
mm-hmm.
without actually going into slow motion. Like, it'll just blur weird. Or you'll have, the big thing is you'll have characters who have that, we've talked about before, that, like, painted Borderlands style face, where, like, bright colors and, like, details painted on almost.
Right.
That style of art. Mm-hmm. Sitting in a photorealistic workshop
mm-hmm.
kind of thing, where everything looks real, and it
mm-hmm.
gets this weird Roger Rabbit vibe
of
like a cartoon sitting in the real world, and that feels like they couldn't afford to coordinate animators or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it stands out as awful too.
And just to piggyback off that, just extending what you were saying,
Sure.
If we as an audience, as anime fans, we don't accept this from any other anime studio. Like, if this was done by Madhouse or some animated studio like that, and it's brought on TV, nobody would accept that. Nobody would defend that at all. So, I'm not going to defend that. Somebody should have went, Netflix should have went. It's like, okay, you're spending money on this. Watch it. It's like, okay, This needs to be fixed. Don't bring it out. Don't go, oh, it's fine, and bring it out. That's why, this is maybe the reason why Netflix is losing money. This maybe, I know I'm crazy, but that's just, I just wanted to expand on that, because that frustrates me, because you get good shows like The Dragon Prince, which is an amazing show. No, we're not talking about that, but it's an amazing with writers, with voice actors, and it's virtually unwatchable. And this, I'm not going to accept this. This is why I'm so hard on Netflix. I'm not accepting this as a finished project. Somebody should have went back and said, okay, clean up this. We're not going to drop it, especially with Disney Plus coming out. So, I know I got very mad, but I just don't accept that.
Sure. Yeah. That's, I mean, again, yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not quite as passionate about it, but
Yeah.
I do agree, like, I feel like if you're going to put money in it, you put a certain amount, and you spread it as evenly as you can.
Yeah.
The problem here is that there's specific spots where the money just runs out.
Yeah.
Fun game, the first 2 episodes, watch the turf in the stadium. As people are crashing into it and being suplexed into it and kicked across the ground, notice the perfectly flat green detailless turf that does not suffer any damage except for, I think, 1 crater in 1 scene.
Yeah. And like I said, especially with Disney Plus and you got all these streaming services pressuring Netflix now. Netflix is not like the only kid in school.
I feel like this is a conversation for another time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just so frustrating when you get stuff like this.
For sure.
And instead of like a couple of weeks to like finish it, it has to be now, and just accept it for what it is. It's not finished. So I'm not accepting that. So, yeah. So that's your lows.
That is everything I got.
All right, that's my lows. Let's see if Ultraman makes the grade, and I will let you start this one off. Does this make the grade for you?
Fortunately, it does not. Like I said, I like the atmosphere. I like the aesthetic of what they wanted to do, but the writing does not make me like the characters. The motivations of the characters themselves are not properly defined, and it looks like in some places they just straight ran out of money.
Yeah,
and that's it's no good. It's too jarring.
So what's the grade?
Oh, I don't want to be dramatic, but I guess technically like an F.
Ooh.
Like, it doesn't make the grade. Like, it is literally not something I would recommend anyone watch, because you won't get a satisfying story experience out of it.
Yeah.
If you want to see guys in masks suplexing guys in suits, watch the original 60s Ultraman. Yeah.
Or watch Lucha Underground. That's great.
Oh, okay.
Like wrestling with comic books. So, this does not make the grade for me. There was many lows that I didn't get to because, you know, it could be a 50-minute episode.
Yeah, we're already like 20 minutes in. We were not happy with it.
I agree with you about the animation, about it looks like they just ran out of money, and to me that's not acceptable.
Like, it's minor, but it's there, and you can't avoid it.
Yeah. The Shinjiro, I didn't like him whatsoever. And like I said, if you're gonna do this with any anime or even live action, you gotta like the person. Yeah. And he,
at least eventually, and they never do.
Yeah, and he just doesn't come off well at all. This trope of good guy, bad guy. Now I'm good, but I'm bad.
All right. We've been over this.
So
this is gonna be an 80-minute video if we don't just cut it.
Yeah, that's right. So those are my main lows. Other lows you heard already.
We just did all the lows. My goodness.
I know. But I gotta.
So what's your grade?
Forward. So my grade is an F, minus.
Ooh, a minus.
Yeah, I just it's not acceptable whatsoever.
F with whatever emoji is a disappointed head shake.
Like a sad face, and then clowny face, and then. So we want to know. So what did you think of Ultraman?
I didn't watch watch it. I didn't like the first episode.
Oh,
Good call, by the way.
good call. Very good call.
Yeah, I could have saved you 25 minutes here.
Yeah, alright, yeah. Okay, I got it. Alright, guys, we want to know what you thought of Ultraman down below in the comments section. And let me know, do I ramble?
Yes.
Okay, and we will see you all later. Stay with me, ladies and gentlemen!
Champion level. May. Where's May? Wait, what am I doing here?
I'm here to warn you about Genai. Now that he's embraced the dark, the darkness is spreading.